Hey y'all, I'm so glad that you joined me today. Please forgive the casual look here. I have been traveling. I spent 2 weeks in Orlando at the Universal and Disney theme parks and SeaWorld. We did like 8 parks in this whirlwind tour. Loved every second of it. Would do it all again. It was hot and I'm tired. And we walked a lot. If you've been to those parks, you know you get well over 10,000 steps in on a slow day. Some days you get up to 20,000 or more steps in. And then I turned around and did a weekend of filming, which is like the July Fragrance Awards, and I think another video in there somewhere. Oh, the So Avant-Garde sale that posted already. And then I turned back around the next week and went on a work trip. And so I'm exhausted and just didn't want to fuss with makeup and hair. It was all I could do to like wash and blow dry my hair today so it wasn't a big greasy mess. So forgive me. I do have on a t-shirt from Universal Studios. I am a kid at heart. Like, if I could figure out a way to permanently work at those parks and make the salary that I make now and not have to be in heat for a good part of the year, I would probably move down to Orlando and do it. I love the parks because it honors the kid in you and like brings a little piece of childhood magic to life. I went as a child and really loved the theming and the magic and the fantasy of it all. And I love the escape of that as an adult. And so at Universal Studios, the original one, they have an ET ride. So if you're an 80s kid like me, I was born in the 70s, but came of age in the 80s. One of my favorite movies from the time period is ET with Drew Barrymore. And I forget the young man's name that played, well, he's not a young man anymore, but the man that played Elliot as a child. Anyway, the movie captures my heart. Even watching it again today, it's still so like touching and magical. But E.T. the Ride is one of my favorites at the original Universal Studios, maybe followed or trumped rather by Gringotts in the Harry Potter world. That's an amazing ride. In fact, that's probably number one, E.T. number two. But E.T. touches my heart the most because of the nostalgia of the movie. Anyway, when you come off of the ride, they have a merchandise store. Of course, off of every ride, they want you to buy something. And so I always stop in the ET store and see if they have any cute t-shirts. So this year I got this one, which may seem a little juvenile to y'all, but I really like it. So, I guess you can't hear me if I'm up here, but because the mic is down here. But the kids are taking this is ET in the bike, and this is Elliot sending him home or something like that. I forget the exact scene where they go up to the moon and all of that. They're escaping the cops. And then you've got E.T., and then the words are be good, which was a phrase from the movie that E.T. would say. Of course, his famous phrase is phone home, E.T., phone home with the finger. And so I have told my family on the day, hopefully very, very far in the future, when I leave this world, one of the songs I want on my playlist is the theme song from E.T. So that's what's going on with the t-shirt and the look. Let's jump into some fragrances. I have some in PR, some that I have purchased, and some that I think I want to purchase and would love your thoughts on if you have tried them. I told y'all, we're going to start off with Kingside and Queenside from Mind Games. I sampled these a while back and said then these fragrances had come out in the massive carafes that were almost $1,000 each. And I said, let's wait and see if these come out in 100 ml bottles because it's certainly a better price point, even though they are still mega pricey. So I want to revisit these again, sample them fully then, and have some thoughts about them now. I've got the new La Vie Belle Vanille Nude. I have LOVE-O-MATIC, which I've talked about in my fragrance awards. Calle Ocho from Fulton and Ror. I've got the three new Banana Republic fragrances, and then a number of others that I'd like to get your thoughts on. So one thing about the Mind Games fragrances is that they are like a whole experience, the packaging and everything. Yes, they are crazy pricey. If you're not even interested, it's okay to skip ahead to the other fragrances that you are interested in. But for those of you that are Mind Games fans, and I am one, both of these fragrances are really quite fantastic in their own way. And I think that they will suit different fragrance wearers because they are quite different fragrances. So they come in a big box like this. There's sort of this outer, like the sleeve that covers the box. And then the boxes look like this. They are 100 ml bottles. They come with 2 of the fragrance oils that are featured, testing strips, and then a little booklet describing the fragrance. I mean, just out of the box, you can smell this thing in the box. Mind you, I sprayed it already. So there's that. I'm not quite sure what the purpose is of sharing the oils with you, other than perhaps you being able to test them in isolation. The two keynotes, and these are the oils that you get, are tonka bean and Peru balsam. And so maybe it's an opportunity to sniff those so that you can understand what each one smells like independently before you try the fragrance, or you can mix and match them to your heart's content or whatever. The bottle looks like so. This is the rook on the chessboard. I'm a big chess fan. We have several chess boards around the house and I enjoy playing. I'm pretty darn good too, if I do say so myself. I was in chess club in middle school. I was that kind of like nerdy kid. I was both kind of cool, but mostly nerdy. And I really enjoyed playing chess, especially when we went to other schools that thought they were going to beat us. And who am I kidding? They typically did beat us, but I enjoyed it anyway. So I think this is the one that people are going the craziest for. It is more in the gourmand direction. It's interesting that the reviews have labeled this more masculine. I will say when I first tried this, it felt a little more masculine to me too. However, since getting the bottle and trying it on like full wear, it's actually quite unisex and has some nice round, lush feminine aspects to it. The top notes here are not just pistachio, but creamy pistachio, cardamom, grapefruit zest in the middle, hazelnut flower, amber rum, peony petals, and in the dry down, tonka bean, almond milk, and Peru balsam. And so obviously the perfumer is highlighting tonka bean and Peru balsam as your primary scent experience here. This is one of those scents that as you spray it on your skin, if you allow your nose to sort of linger over the scent rather than sticking your nose right in it, you get a better sense of what this smells like than up close. Up close, this smells incredibly nutty. It even has this sort of like a green facet to it. You know how if you have pistachios that are fresh out of the shell, they have a little tiny bit of like a real slight green earthy nature to them, that sort of thing. But as a general wearing experience, this is a very warm, enveloping, cozy, and sophisticated fragrance. It's like cozy sophistication or sophisticated coziness, rather. It's an upscale cashmere sweater in a bottle for sure. If there's such a thing as a luxury gourmand, I think Kingside hits that. It's creamy, it's warm, it's like super duper luxe lotion on your skin that leans in a nutty direction with some vanilla undertones. Even though there isn't vanilla listed in the note structure, tonka bean can often give you a vanillic type of feel. I do think this is lovely. This was not my husband's favorite when we tried the two before. He thought this smelled a lot like a fall candle. I think it's beyond that. I think it's quite warm and luxurious smelling. If a gourmand fragrance could be luxe, this one captures that sense. Very long lasting and very projecting. This one has a strong presence in the room. I would say in terms of like weather and season, much more suitable for early fall into winter. I could see this being a great Christmas season kind of scent. Cuffing season, if we're still saying cuffing season, is that out as a term? I never really used it, so I don't know why I just said that, but the vibe of cuffing season, by the fireplace type of deal with a movie and a hot cup of cocoa. It can go from casual in your pajamas, hanging out at home, cozied up under a blanket watching a movie, all the way to like sexy date night because of the luxe gourmand nature of this. Is the price point justified? Again, like we're talking about with all fragrances, it's really up to you as the buyer if you think it is worth it. I think it's one of those things, if you are a Mind Games fan, this is a must try and perhaps a must have if you are a Mind Games and a gourmand lover. For the 100 ml bottle and the samples together, it is a whopping 475. Ouch. So that is quite a chunk for a perfume. And so in terms of notes that stand out the most to me with Kingside, I would say the creamy pistachio, whatever hazelnut flower is supposed to smell like. I'm going to make the assumption that it has some nuances of the hazelnut notes in the flower form, the amber rum, tonka bean, almond milk, and some of those, that balsam aspect, Peru balsam. Warm, cozy, enveloping in a luxe, like upscale cashmere feeling kind of way. Then we move on to Queenside, which was my husband's favorite on me when we first tried these out. This one is in the white box. Mind Games will do this. Well, they'll release two fragrances at once, a white and a black one, and sort of pair them up. Maybe a masculine leaning one and a female leaning one, although it's up to the audience to decide. So here is that box, same kind of idea. This is the same type of price. This should remind you in terms of the bottle design of Prodigy, which I still have and I still love. So here the two primary notes for Queenside are cassis, American pronunciation, cassis is the French pronunciation, and geranium. Geranium for me tends to be in the sort of like rosy, nuanced direction, maybe deeper, a little darker, a little thicker than a rose note. The notes here at the top, cassis, lychee, pear, in the middle, geranium, lily of the valley, violet, and in the base, patchouli, oak moss, and musk. You will get patchouli in this fragrance. You will get that sort of earthy, mossy type of deal, oak moss type of deal. Yes, musk in the background, even a little bit of powderiness. And then the primary features are like this deep, almost if you're familiar with how plum shows up in fragrances, how it can be a deep, dark, juicy, fruity note, like with some mystery to it. I feel like we get some of that in here, like a berry and plum, even though plum is not a note listed, and a very cool violet deal. If I didn't know that geranium was a note, I would say this had a really deep rose note. So think deep, dark, fruity, rosy, darker nuance, and then patchouli, mossy base with some powderiness to it. Quite beautiful. This one played very well off of me. My husband enjoyed this on me and thought that I smelled quite alluring, quite sophisticated, quite sexy wearing this one. It seems that this is less of a favorite, a crowd favorite rather than Kingside is for most people. I think this is the more sophisticated one, even though Kingside shows up as like a luxe gourmand experience. This one has more like an old school feeling to it, nearly retro in vibe without smelling old fashioned or dated in any way. It's almost like a modernized version. Like if you think of, if you smelled Barenia by Hermes, the sort of feeling that that fragrance gives you, imagine that fragrance with a deep, fruity, and darker, rosy, slightly earthy type of feel. You might get a sense of what Queenside smells like. The other fragrance that comes to mind is Cartier La Panthère, if you've tried that one. Kind of sort of similar vibes to Queenside. This one is maybe thicker in texture, more projecting, more pronounced than the Cartier fragrance. It's interesting looking at some of the Fragrantica reviews on this. I'm like, have you actually tried the fragrance? Because what they describe is nothing like the experience that I had with this. I find this to be sophisticated, dark, deep, mysterious, fruity, very alluring, old school Hollywood glamour, like I said, without smelling dated or vintagey. Which one do I like the most? I think I kind of lean toward Kingside as sort of a general wearing experience for myself. But if I wanted to be sexy and alluring, like Vava Voom, Jessica Rabbit style, I would put on Queenside for date night personally. So this might be like my glam going out fragrance, Queenside, and then Kingside might be my snuggle in while still smelling a little bit luxurious with my gourmand fragrance on. So I like both of these a lot. The prices on these are pricing. The prices are pricing. I do have a discount code with Mind Games. It's Veronica10. You can use that on the website or on the So Avant-Garde site. And even then, it's pricey. So you do need to be a Mind Games fan, enjoy the line in general, and appreciate the sort of DNA of the house for these to be worth it for you. I do think it's a luxurious gifting experience with the beautiful boxes, though. I mentioned in the July Fragrance Awards that one of my blind purchases of late was or is Love-O-MATIC from Room 1015. This is a fun fragrance for both late spring, summer, early fall, and any time in winter when you want to smell fresh, clean, and playful. This is a very playful, not serious fragrance. However, I will also say that this is an easy everyday wear. I think it was in the everyday category, like the winner for that for the July Fragrance Awards because it's such an easy wear. You have to appreciate airy, clean smelling fragrances. This one has a touch of fruity delight that I will talk about in just a second. The primary experience here is the smell of almost like damp laundry air. Not damp in a bad way, humid is probably a better word. You walk into a laundromat, or if you are in a home where you have a washer and dryer, if you've ever been outside of your home when the dryer is running, the air that's coming out of the vent is slightly humid and it has that laundry, like dryer sheet kind of clean, fresh, warm smell. This gives me a very warm, airy dryer sheet smell, along with this kind of like hint of a strawberry bubblegum. That part of the fragrance experience for me is not super pronounced, but there's enough in it to sort of cut through the laundry sheet experience if that's not something that you're the biggest fan of, or if you're wondering if that just takes over the experience. In some ways it does, and it's tempered, I guess, or calmed down rather by the presence of this strawberry bubblegummy fun note. This is airy, it's fluffy, it's clean, it's playful, and I would not hesitate to wear this to a work event. In fact, I've debated whether to take this or a decant of it with me on the work trip that I just came off of. I actually ended up taking Still from Jennifer Lopez. I'm not sure if that was the best choice for me since I applied a lot and it was rather loud in the meeting room that I was in, and I had regrets that I was maybe assaulting people with my scent. And then the other fragrance that I wore was Skin by Clean Reserve, which is one of my all-time favorites, and I did get a nice compliment on that one on the second day. But this would have been a lovely choice as well. Love-O-MATIC. My only complaint, it is not a super long wearing experience, although someone commented on my July Fragrance Awards that it was for them. So the importance of testing for yourself and seeing how something works out, regardless, I think it's a great buy. And it wasn't that expensive of a buy either for this full bottle. I think it was like in the low hundreds range. Then, if you watch a lot of fragrance social media, you might have noticed that a company called Fulton and Roark has been making the rounds. And I just want to mention that if you're seeing fragrances a lot, it's typically because a brand is doing a campaign and they're sending out PR and or they have launched something new and reviewers are purchasing that fragrance because it's new and it's hot and they want to make sure that they get their thoughts out to you. There's nothing wrong with that, friends. That's how marketing works. When there's a new product out, be it in the fragrance world or in any other product driven business, there's a campaign that launches. It's not an evil thing the way it sometimes is portrayed by some of the sort of haters out there that, fragrance reviewers are all talking about a specific fragrance or line of fragrances. They've received it in PR, like it's part of the goal of the channel to share thoughts with you. So that's why you may be seeing a lot of Fulton and Roark fragrances making the rounds. I asked for from them, they reached out and asked, was I interested in trying their fragrances? And I asked to try Calle Ocho because that seemed to be getting the best reviews and be sort of up my alley. And so I haven't had a chance to do a full day wear on this, but I have sort of played with it here and there and want to share with you that there are comparisons of this to Angel's Share from Kilian. I think those comparisons are maybe right on. And this fragrance has a bit more of a chocolatey nuance than Angel's Share does. And so that's one of the primary differences. The top notes here are cinnamon, rum, dark chocolate. In the middle, tobacco, night blooming jasmine, which tends to be sort of a deeper, sexier, sultrier jasmine than just your normal everyday wispy in the daytime kind of jasmine, labdanum, and then in the base, tonka bean, musk, and sandalwood. And the brand says it's a mellow melange of rum, tobacco, and sandalwood that's sort of reminiscent of Miami's Little Havana. This is very much a sexy fragrance. It's an evening fragrance, in my opinion, or if you want to wear it during the day, one of those that might come out in the middle of fall into early winter, deep into winter. This could also be a Christmas fragrance. It, to me, is unisex. I think some people would probably argue that this smells more masculine to them. Like if you are a lady, for example, who wants more sweet smelling scents and you want them to be more on the floral, girly side, this is more unisex to you and perhaps leaning masculine. Those of you that like unisex scents will very much appreciate this one. I do think it has some kind of sweetness, boozy, chocolatey, not chocolatey in the chocolate bar sense, but like think of like a perfume interpretation of a chocolate note. Definitely like a humid tobacco, and then like a vanillic leaning woodiness in the base. This is sexy. Dark, sexy cigar lounge for sure. I think the cinnamon and angel share is more pronounced here. It's a little bit more toned down, and that's one of the differences between the two. I think these little bottles are cute as well. Let me know if you've tried this or any of the other fragrances from Fulton and Roark. I'd be interested in exploring, and I'll come back and let you know what the full wearing experience was like. Then So Avant-Garde sent over the 3 new Banana Republic fragrances. I talked about these in the So Avant-Garde sale video. Let me start off with Fresh Pear, which is my husband's favorite on me. I did do a full day wear on this, and a lot of people are picking up the pear and the coconut. I will say, in my experience, I couldn't pick one of those notes out. Like if I didn't know what the notes were or what the name of the fragrance was, and I just sprayed this on myself, I would tell you that it's primarily a musky base of a fragrance with maybe some woodiness and a number of sort of fruity notes on top without defining what those are. This is pear and citrus at the top, coconut and jasmine in the mid, vanilla, sandalwood, amber in the base. It reminds me very much of Tiziana Terenzi fragrances. If you have tried those and you understand the sort of heavy base of substantial thundercloud kind of musk that it has, and often accompanied by fruity and vanillic notes and sometimes other floral notes. This one is primarily that thick, musky base with fruity notes on top. That's my wearing experience. When I look at the notes, I don't see that musk is called out. Very pretty. I would rank this maybe like number 2 out of the 3 choices. Husband loved this on me, thought it was quite sexy. The one that I like the most for my husband and I like for myself as well, but primarily for him, is the one called Sandalwood and Musk in the blue bottle. And it's exactly what it says. So the fragrance is definitely sandalwood as a base, definitely has some like almost like a powdery, musky aspect to it. Some of the other notes that stand out. This says lilac. There's a very cool smelling floral in this fragrance. I mean, like cool, like violet or iris can sometimes be like purple florals. And I think it smells cozy and comforting and familiar. I still can't put my finger on what from the past this fragrance reminds me of, but I like it. I don't think this is for everyone though. I would say test this out first. Safe blind buy for gentlemen. I think ladies might have a hard time relating to some of the male leaning aspects in this fragrance, although I think it's fantastic. And then my personal favorite of the three new releases is in this sort of yellowy, mustard, orangey looking bottle, Marshmallow and Lavender. This one smells like the name. It's got sugar crystals in it. So it gives you this blast of powdery, almost like cottony, marshmallowy sugar. There are fruity notes and it's stone fruit. I believe it's peach in the fragrance or something like that. Peach, apricot, one of those kinds of notes in that direction. There's vanilla and musk in it as well. So overall feeling for this is imagine like a cotton ball soaked in like a soft, peachy, apricot oil. There's sugar sprinkled on top, and all of that is sitting on like a cloud of pillowy musk. Fun, comforting, a little bit more youthful of a fragrance than perhaps the other two. Of the three, I would say the Fresh Pear and Coconut is the most sort of mature smelling. I would say the Sandalwood and Musk is the most unisex, perhaps a little male leaning, but still very comforting. This one, Marshmallow and Lavender, is very on the feminine side to me. It's sweet without being overtly gourmand. It's very soft and pillowy and fluffy, and I think it's great. So this is my favorite of the three. And then I went ahead and picked up blindly La Vie Belle Vanille Nude. How could I not? How cute is this ombre effect bottle? I have this obsession with pink, as you see from my nail color. Anything that's like a nudie pink, I'm like, I need it in my life. Add it to cart immediately. The keynotes featured solar jasmine, glazed vanilla, and creamy white musk. And it is all of those things. The description is a floral gourmand. Yes, and more yes. This is a little bit softer to the skin, so know that. But it is a fairly moderate to long lasting fragrance. It smells floral, it smells sweet, it smells creamy, it smells pillowy, it smells musky, and it smells dreamy. This is a beautiful fragrance to me in the gourmand direction, not incredibly overtly sweet, but definitely leaning sweet, girly, feminine, creamy, strong on the vanilla. If I didn't know what the notes were, I would tell you this had some sort of a nutty accord, perhaps something like a marzipan almondy paste type of deal, a sweet smelling musk, and definitely that beautiful floral. I don't feel like this belongs in the La Vie Belle family, although I'm glad that it's in this bottle. I think the bottle is very pretty, but I don't smell this and think of La Vie Belle or any of the flankers. So that's an interesting thing that this was added to that lineup versus being its own fragrance. We've talked about this in a number of other videos, what you call flanker fatigue, or people just getting tired of like the constant flankers. This doesn't smell like La Vie Belle, so I'm not quite sure what the thinking was behind adding it to the line on the Lancome part, if they were just, capitalizing on the La Vie Belle fame, or were thinking maybe putting out something completely new on the market wouldn't be as well received. I don't know. I'm not in their marketing department and I don't know what the thinking was behind that, but I give this a big thumbs up in terms of being a pretty feminine, floral, gourmand fragrance. That's exactly what it is. And it doesn't smell incredibly edible, but it definitely has that sweet, creamy, gourmand aspect to it that makes it lean in that direction. And what a cute bottle. This is a big thumbs up. So then I think I'm going to pick up, because I finally had a chance to sample properly, Q Parfum. And so I have the original Q. I don't have the intense version. This bottle is captivating because of the color of the bottle, that sort of cherry red color. Top note is cherry. It has jasmine, sambac, and then vanilla featured as the base note. My son loved this on me. We tried this on in the Italy Pavilion. Is that what it's called? At Epcot, the Italy World, Italy Pavilion. I think that's the name of the sections of Epcot. And they had a Dolce and Gabbana store in there. And so we went in there and tried out this fragrance. I also had a chance to try out some of the Bulgari fragrances while I was in that pavilion as well. Beyond Baciami, some from that same line that look like the candies on their side. Really interesting sampling experiences. But Q, I actually sprayed on, in addition to, I sprayed on some. Anyway, we were walking around and my son kept sniffing where I sprayed them and giving me his thoughts. And he rated this one the highest. Like he was like, "Mom, you need to buy that fragrance." So my sense of this fragrance was it opens up very decadent cherry vanilla with awesome florals in it. All in one. The cherry is very pronounced. It's like a fizzy, sparkling cherry and almost like a candy-like cherry. And then as it goes on, the cherry does sort of take a back seat in the fragrance, and the majority of the wearing experience is a beautiful floral and vanilla deal. But the cherry is present throughout most of the wearing experience. Again, this was just sampling like on my skin. But look, I was walking around in Epcot in over 100-degree weather, and this fragrance was not playing around. It stuck on me and it meant to be smelled. It was intending on surviving this crazy heat that was in that park that day, or in the area that day in general. And I could smell it throughout and thought that it was a pleasant wearing experience the whole time. And this is interesting because sometimes when you sample a lot of fragrances at once, they all sort of fade off into obscurity because they kind of blend into each other and you don't remember what you sprayed where. This particular fragrance, Q Parfum, stayed distinct and like the integrity of the composition stayed whole and I enjoyed it throughout the wearing experience and thought to myself, I'm adding this to my wish list. And so remember when the Carolina Herrera Confidential line hit Fragcom, it was like all the rave, all the rave, all the rage, all the whatever. It was all the hype. People went out and purchased them. They were hard to find. We were trying to find them on discount sites. They showed up on like FragranceNet and FragranceBuy.ca, and people were buying them up. Remember all this? And so they have slowly released a few here and there. I ended up purchasing a bunch of them. I still have a number of them and think this is one of the best like privé or private lines of fragrances for any of the designer houses. The most recent release, or one of the most recent releases, is Cedar Chic, and I'm super interested in this. Aldehydes, bergamot, orange blossom, and cedarwood and white musk in the base. It's a tribute to the iconic white shirt, symbolizing timeless style and sophistication. It's supposed to smell both crisp and be musky and creamy and refined, and I can't wait to try this. It's been sold out in the places that I have checked. It's back on the Harrods website. I ordered it. It should be arriving any day now, and I can't wait to try it. I'll link it below. Judging by Fragrantica, it's going to be mostly those clean aldehydic notes, along with a clean cedarwood note. Love a clean, fresh cedarwood note and orange blossom. Those appear to be the primary players according to raters on Fragrantica. So this is high on my list to check out. I think the color of the bottle being white signals what the experience is supposed to be like: fresh, clean, crisp. Yes, give it all to me. So looking for that one. I also should have gone ahead and purchased this by now, but I have not, and I probably will. It's called Suede Vanilla from the Bear line at Victoria's Secret. I have the regular original Bear, which I love. I have the Rose Bear and the Magnolia Bear. So this one is supposed to be compared to Vanilla Skin from Fleur, and I love that scent. So if it's anything similar to that, I think I will like this as well. Primary notes are wild saffron, creamy sandalwood and spices, vanilla suede, and proprietary musks. So it says proprietary musks on the other Bear fragrances from Victoria's Secret. And I think the whole line is just fabulous, easy, everyday wear. Bear, the original, is one of my favorites in my entire collection. Don't play with Victoria's Secret fragrances. You can spend all the money you want. You can spend $500 on a Mind Games fragrance if you want, and you're going to smell fantastic. But you're also, it's not instead of, and it's not but, you're also going to smell good in your Bear from Victoria's Secret that costs $50. Fantastic line of fragrances. So I don't doubt that Suede Vanilla is going to be worth picking up. It would be one that I'm happy to blind buy because I've had good luck with the line. So why wouldn't I enjoy Suede Vanilla? And it will be right up there with my King Side and Queen Side smelling great. You can talk trash about the Victoria's Secret fragrances all you want, but they deliver. They deliver. Well, many of them do. Many of them do. Okay. Then I am very interested in trying Black Orchid Reserve. Have you? I haven't seen this on sale anywhere. Do let me know if you're seeing it. As of the day that I'm filming this video, I haven't seen it. Notes here: bergamot, truffle, black orchid, ylang ylang, dark chocolate, tonka patchouli, vanilla. It strikes me as, in terms of the note structure, very similar to the original Black Orchid or maybe even Black Orchid Parfum. There's a note here that isn't listed on the site that I looked at that everyone is saying is part of this, and it's Ghost Orchid. Is that the name of it? I don't even know what that means, so I'll have to look that up. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If it says Black Orchid in the beginning of the name, Veronica's going to try it and I'm probably going to like it. In fact, I saw it on the Ulta website. I had points, and so I purchased this one as well, and it's on the way. So that is high on my list to try out. Very curious to know if you have. And let me just call out a few others that I have noticed are on the Sephora website or up and coming. And I may, well, is this out of stock? Did this come in stock and now it's out? Did y'all buy up Mrs. Smith? Was it already released? Because I want it. This is from Fleur. This is a body mist. Oh no, they still have the mini size, so I may get that one. That's all I wanted anyway. Here we go. It's a medley of fresh fruit, juicy pear, crisp apple, and watermelon. That sounds amazing. Meet the bloom of apple blossom and dragon fruit. It's all wrapped in velvety praline and creamy musk nectar. Jerome Epinette is the perfumer. I want this. I don't love like the body mist bottles, but the Fleur ones are as cute as a body mist bottle can get if you're going to get one. And this sounds amazing, especially as we start moving into thinking about fall here. I want this. Add to cart. It may be coming to me. I'm also curious to try, I don't know if I want a full bottle, but the new Burberry Goddess Parfum. So this says it's a vibrant raspberry accord that complements a radiant lavender essence. It has the trio of vanilla extracts and then a suede leather accord brings more warmth, texture, and sensuality to the gourmand vanilla base. So it sounds like the difference here is the suede leather. I don't remember if there's raspberry in the original or the intense version. I have the original. I have the intense, beautiful fragrances. I'm not sure if I now need a third bottle. Y'all let me know what you think about that suede leather accord. I like leather. I don't think a lot of ladies are into a leather note in a fragrance. I think a leather note is fantastic. It adds like this ruggy earthiness, rugged earthiness. Pardon me. Where did I eat my Wheaties today? I did take my vitamins. Rugged earthiness that is appealing to me, so it's like having your feet grounded in the earth when you wear leather. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. I do want to try this, so I may order a travel spray and see how it sits with me. I did end up trying this in store and definitely picked up a more pronounced, suede leatherish type of note. Didn't pick up much of the raspberry, very strong fragrance. Nice. I don't think I will be adding this one to my collection because I'm happy with my other two. Creme de Clementine from Nest. Is this new? I think it is. Joyful, citrus gourmand bursting with the bright, sun-drenched scent of clementine zest swirled together with sweet vanilla cream and rich blonde woods to create an addictively delicious confection. I would definitely like to try this as well. It says it's like biting into an orange creamsicle. So why do I feel like we've seen this before? Was it Nest or like who released? Was it Seven Virtues that released a clementine fragrance? I'm not remembering because I didn't purchase it. I think I tried a travel spray of whatever that one was that was released last year. Maybe it was Seven Virtues. And so this is Nest with, what is it? Yeah, you can't take me anywhere. Creme de Clementine. I am interested in trying this. Maybe not a full bottle, maybe a travel spray of this as well to see what I think of it. And then finally, I am interested in sampling Ellis Brooklyn Queen's Caramel. The description here, a delicate and royal olfactive treat. This warm and sweet gourmand perfume is an ode to delectable decadence. Notes of caramel, maple sugar, white chocolate, pink salt, and milky musk indulge the senses. That sounds good. Depends how deep the caramel is and how pronounced the maple sugar is, I would think. Anyway, I'm curious to smell this. The reviews so far seem really good. The key notes are caramel, whipped coconut, and milky musks. That could be really, really delicious. So, as we go into fall and it's back into like gourmand season, all things that smell yummy, edible, maybe on the other side, spicy, deep, mysterious, that whole universe of scents. I am very interested in diving back into, and I think Queen's Caramel is one to try out. Let me know if you are interested in any of these fragrances. Drop it down in the comments. They will all be linked in the description box if they are available at the time of posting this video. Thank you so much for joining me in casual gear here. We'll be back to properly make-upped face and curled hair and all of those things sometime in the future, but not today. Love y'all. Take care. See you in the next video.